Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful, and thank you for joining us here on this inaugural broadcast, hopefully the first of many, of All Patriots Talk. I'm Mike Debate alongside Ethan Hurwitz. We represent New England Patriots on SI, and we are your co-hosts here on All Patriots Talk, powered by All NFL Talk. Definitely be sure to like, subscribe, and follow us wherever you get your podcasts, and make sure to hit that subscribe button, All NFL Talk, on YouTube so you do not miss a single second of the action as soon as your favorite episode of All Patriots Talk is made available. And it may be mid-season for your New England Patriots and really all across the NFL, but it's a new dawn and a new day here in Foxborough, and especially here on All Patriots Talk. It's exciting to talk Patriots football again. And it is my honor to be talking and to taking the helm of this podcast journey with my good friend here, Ethan Hurwitz. Ethan, it's a pleasure to be on the microphone with you, and welcome to a great, hopefully, second half of the season of New England Patriots football.
Yeah, we got a good start to the year. Hopefully, this doesn't bring any bad mojo, but we should be in for a good end of the season, especially in New England.
Absolutely, without any question. And folks, you are definitely tuning into a good day. Today's inaugural episode, action-packed. The 6-2 Patriots are in the midst of their best stretch since 2021. They got all of us in Pat's Nation here thinking playoffs, and why not? Patriots right now seemingly in control of their own destiny. What has impressed you most about the New England Patriots to date? Well, Ethan and I are going to give our response to that in just a moment. And, of course, heading into Week 9, the New England Patriots have an exciting matchup on tap here at Gillette Stadium on Sunday, a 1 p.m. kickoff. The Atlanta Falcons come to town. A lot of 28-3 jokes, I'm sure, will be in the forecast this weekend, and keep them coming. We still love them up here. They're still funny, even after all of these years. And at this point, Bud, let's just get right into it. Patriots have won 5 straight. They follow their 32-13 victory over the Cleveland Browns last weekend. This victory over Atlanta, if they should achieve it, and we're not saying it's going to be an easy one, folks. Ethan and I are going to get into why the Atlanta Falcons present their share of problems for the New England Patriots in just a bit, but it would give the Patriots a 6-game winning streak. That would be their longest since a 7-game winning streak in 2021. What a great run this team is on right now. The Patriots' fortunes clearly reversed. This offense looks a lot more crisp. It looks a lot more efficient. The defense is starting to round into form. They look like a beast against the run. But Ethan, you follow this team as closely as I do, as close as anyone on the Patriots beat. What's impressed you most about this Pats team heading into Week 9?
I think probably the quarterback play. And everyone has talked about it all year. And Drake May has played at an MVP level. And I don't think anyone really thought that would be something that you'd be saying 8 games into his second season. Last year, you're like, okay, there's a little bit of growing pains. There's a new coaching staff. Let's see what we have in the rookie. This year, a new coaching staff, and then semi-old coaching staff when you get Josh McDaniels as the play caller. I don't think anyone really expected Drake May to be this good. And people expected him to be good. And, they were projected 7-8 wins. They're nearing that right now. And that's a lot because of how Drake May has played. And he's got the playmakers around him. Some of them weren't here last year. So they went out and got some guys for him. And typically when quarterbacks turn into their true selves, when Josh Allen turned into Josh Allen, when Jalen Hurts turned into Jalen Hurts, when Patrick Mahomes turned into Patrick Mahomes, they all had top-tier receivers. And that was when they got Stephon Diggs. And I think that's only helped and elevated Drake May's play to a point where we can even consider him as a top 5, top 3, maybe even the favorite for the most valuable player 8 games in.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think he's definitely in the discussion right now. And look, for better or for worse, the MVP is usually an NFL quarterback. I mean, if we're being honest, it's so tough for a positional player to get that. I think Jonathan Taylor with the Indianapolis Colts making a huge run right now. He's making a great case for himself, but 9 times out of 10, it usually ends up being a positional player, and Drake May is playing well as anyone right now. 2,026 passing yards, 15 touchdowns compared to only 3 interceptions. Factor in 250 rushing yards on the ground, and it shows that he can get the job done in multiple ways. So, yeah, of course he's going to be among the front runners. And to me, that's been the most exciting thing about what we're seeing here with New England is how Drake May has emerged into a leader among so many of these players on the roster right now that are looking to him for guidance, for wisdom, for counsel, however you want to say it. But they're doing that. Guys like Stephon Diggs and Mac Hollins, who are veterans in this league. Obviously, Stephon has a tremendous resume. He's a two-time All-Pro. You know, he's been to the puppet show. He's seen the strings. He's played with Josh Allen. He's played, you know, in Minnesota in pressure-packed environments. He knows what it's like to be in an NFL stage, on the biggest stage. And he's doing some great things with Drake, and you're seeing that each and every week. Drake is continuing to get a lot of maximum ability out of his tight ends, Austin Hooper and Hunter Henry, who are playing at a level that really are commensurate with where their quarterback is. And as much as we like to say that, yes, they need to upgrade the running game and whatnot, Drake still is pacing that rushing attack. He's the second leading rusher on the team behind Ramondre Stevenson, and I think he's only about 29 yards behind him. It's really remarkable what this guy's been able to do. But when you look at the opposite side of the ball now, and you look at the defensive side, some will say that the pass defense has been a little bit slow to come around. The run defense clearly is in another level. I mean, the first time since and over, I believe it's almost a half century that a team has held opposing rushers to less, you know, than 50 yards. And really, I mean, they're doing a tremendous job with this team and what they're able to do. When you look at the defense and you look at how they've come around, your opinion on what Mike Vrabel, Terrell Williams, obviously, in a limited capacity, and Zach Core have been able to do with this defense and really turn it around from a dismal performance last year.
The front seven has been arguably probably the best part of this entire team so far. And
absolutely.
the calling card and the stat that they can hang their hat on is the 50 yards not allowed to a running back. And you touched on it. It's the first time since 1950 that that's happened. And so when you're sort of getting into Lombardi and Lambeau's era of football, you're doing something well. And I think that, you know, they went out and revamped their front seven. They got Christian Barmore back fully healthy. That has been their best part of their team so far, I think, from a start to finish. Getting after the quarterback, getting and closing in the run lanes has been their best part. The passing offense, or the passing defense, excuse me, it's been good, but it hasn't been to a level where they're shutting down passing offenses. And I think that they've been doing pretty well against teams that, you know, no one really had much faith in these last few weeks. You had Cleveland with a rookie quarterback. You had Tennessee with a rookie quarterback. You're going to get Atlanta, who has a good offense, but they have a second-year quarterback that's coming off of an injury. So they're having some of these games where they can find their own rhythm. They're not going against a Pro Bowl quarterback or 7, you know, different Pro Bowl offensive players that can really, you know, push them to their limits all 60 minutes. So I think they've had, you know, an easy schedule. People have talked about the easy schedule. I think the passing defense has been able to use that easy schedule to sort of ease their way into what has been a slow starting first quarter for these teams. But they've used halftime to sort of adjust, and I think that's been sort of their calling card is slow starts, getting after the running back, and timely pass defense.
Yeah, very well said. And I want to get back into slow starts in just a moment, because there are reasons for the Patriots, I think, maybe getting off to a slow start in general throughout the season, especially in the secondary with some injuries and some more inexperienced players kind of taking the helm. That absolutely factors in, folks. But something that you said, I think, really hit home when it came to this New England Patriots team and what they're able to do and how they've been able to do it. And that's coaching to your strengths, coaching to where your team is at its best. And I want to give so much credit to Mike Vrabel and his staff, especially with Terrell Williams, being on the sidelines, being treated for prostate cancer. Hopefully Terrell will get back on the sidelines as soon as possible. Obviously, his main priority, and the main priority of all of us that continue to think about him and pray for him, is his long-term health. But that is a very difficult thing for a coach to go through. And especially when it's a coach as beloved as Terrell and someone as vital to him. And this defensive resurgence, you might as well say, in New England as a defensive coordinator is. So much credit goes to Mike Vrabel for keeping the ship steered in the right direction and for making sure that that rudder is steady. And also, I want to give a lot of credit to Zach Core, who comes in as a relatively novice play caller, but someone who knows these two gentlemen very well, knows what the team's capabilities are, and I think he's hit all on the right levels right now when it comes to keeping the Patriots defense in a position where they can help dictate the tempo and dictate the game. And you mentioned the front seven playing at a high level that we haven't seen in quite some time. Ethan, earlier this week, the New England Patriots jettisoned a couple of, I don't want to say, long-term veterans. Obviously, Keon White was here for a couple of years, but a couple of players that I think represented the former guard of what this defense would be like. And we've seen this throughout training camp, throughout the offseason, into the regular season. This is not a regime that's really scared or worried about letting go of the past in order to build a brighter future. And of course, I'm talking about Keon White. I'm talking about Kyle Duggar. Duggar now goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Keon White now with the San Francisco 49ers. It took me back to something that you said earlier about this team getting off to a slow start on defense. Christian Gonzalez missing the first couple of games of the year with a hamstring injury clearly set the pass defense back, and they're starting to find their rhythm a little bit more each week, thanks to some stellar play from Marcus Jones. Carlton Davis is starting to round into form. We're starting to see these guys play at a higher level. The safety position, Jalen Hawkins has been banged up a little bit, but he's been good when he's been in the lineup. Craig Woodson is a rookie, a very impressive rookie. And I think they found a guy that can be a cornerstone safety in this team for a number of years because of the way he plays, but he's still a rookie. And these guys are going to make rookie mistakes. Heading into week 9, which we're going to get into in just a moment, do you have any concerns about perhaps the lack of battle-tested veterans on that side of the ball that could come back to hurt them in later season games where you kind of need that veteran savvy sometimes to pull out a really close one?
I was talking to some people earlier this week about, that exact thing. And I look at it not more of you need sort of a veteran presence on the field just in case of mistakes. I personally like, if you trust the rookie, stick him out there. There's going to be some mistakes at some point, but he's clearly shown you enough that he's earned your trust to be a starting safety. My thing is their safety depth is pretty depleted. It's not as deep as some of these other positions on defense. So, if Craig Woodson gets hurt and banged up, or Jalen Hawkins' injury, which he's played through, grows into something larger, their safety depth isn't something that's, not that they don't have that big of a depth chart at safety. So I'm sort of worried about if Hawkins goes down, or Woodson goes down, or maybe they stick Brendan Schooler out there for a bit, and then you lose a special teamer guy. I like having depth guys, even if it's someone that has been a veteran, has been a starter, has been a captain like Kyle Duggar. I think just having him purely as a depth guy is enough to keep him around. Obviously, his defense, his play style didn't really fit what this team wanted to do. I think they like more of the speedy nickel guys that can sort of go out and cover, as opposed to the Bill Belichick, Gerard Mayo scheme of bigger body guys, the Jabril Peppers, the Kyle Duggars that can go into the box and play that hybrid linebacker safety role. A little bit of what Marte Mapu does, but I think he does a lot more of the special teams work, and he's not as lumber as a Duggar was. So my concern is they're pretty not banged up, but they have some injuries to deal with. And if one of those stems over, or, knock on wood, no one gets hurt. If something happens, they're pretty depleted at that back end.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And I think it also serves to the point of them wanting to bring a body in right away in order to maybe take some of the pressure off a guy like Del Pettis, so everyone's going to be looking at, obviously, to pick up the slack this weekend with Kyle Duggar being out. And I think Del is adept to being able to take that role on as anybody. But you want to have guys that are capable of being able to transfer in and out. And to me, the signing of John Saunders is really fascinating. You're dialed in as I am, and you can talk to people close to the team all the time. A couple of people that I talk to that are close to this defense and the coaching staff on this defense, so there are a lot of people in that coach's room right now that are really excited by bringing in John Saunders. And I know that Patriots fans probably have not heard a lot about him, or have, maybe mixed emotions about bringing him in and saying, well, all right, that's not going to move the needle. I don't think it's going to be like the move that puts them over the top, but this kid definitely does have some pro level savvy along with him. Anyone that watched the preseason returned an interception against the Jacksonville Jaguars for 51 yards. So he is a ball hawk. He's going to draw a bead on the ball. He's going to try to go after it, and he's going to do that. And I think he fits the versatile type of role that this team wants, especially in that defensive backfield. Kid can play the free, he can play the strong. We've seen him play slot, we've seen him play cornerback. Had a very good year in his senior year at Ole Miss, lead the SEC in turnovers, got 3 interceptions and 4 forced fumbles. So that, to me, I think symbolizes what they might do in that defensive backfield. Maybe the jury's still out. Maybe they still add a piece between now and the trade deadline. And I don't want to get too much into the trade deadline just yet, folks, because Ethan and I got a special plan for you for trade deadline this week coming up. So definitely make sure to stay abreast of what we're doing here on All Patriots Talk, because we'll be coming at you with some trade deadline talk, and especially, of course, the aftermath of Week 9 coming up in the NFL season. Patriots and Falcons. And Ethan, let's get right into it, because I think right now with this matchup on the cusp, there's so much that the Patriots want to be able to do when they're done with this matchup. They'd love to be able to go in to that matchup with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers having won 6 straight. But you and I both know that it's never a good idea to overlook a team, and this Atlanta Falcons team cannot be overlooked, especially if reports are correct and they expect to get Michael Penix and Drake London back in the lineup. Kyle Pitts, I think, is still a guy that waits in the wings all the time. He's always a potential big game ready to happen. And this Falcons defense is number 1 in the NFL against the pass. As you start to look at the Atlanta Falcons and you look at the Patriots matchup against it, let's start with the negative and then we'll go into the positive. What worries you the most about this Atlanta Falcons matchup this weekend?
They have a really good secondary. Jesse Bates, AJ Terrell. They have a really good secondary that can test Drake May. Last week against the Browns was the best statistical defense he played. But this is also, a really good defense, especially against the pass. They're young up front as well, and so they can get after the quarterback. And they've spent a number of picks over the last few years shoring up that defensive front. So I think it's going to be a test for the Pats' offensive line. And can they hold up in the run game, especially from Ramondre Stevenson, who is trending like he won't play? Will they be able to run the ball? And if they're not able to run the ball and it's going to turn into a pass-heavy game, can Drake May and some of these receivers connect against what's, a really strong secondary? Mm-hmm. Offensively, the Falcons are probably one of the deepest teams in the NFL. They have threats, touched on Drake London. You have Kyle Pitts, who always seems to either go for 0 catches or for 8 catches for 130 yards. He's just that big boomer bust guy. And then probably the best running back that the Patriots have faced all year right now in Bijan Robinson, who if that 50-yard streak is going to end, this is likely the week where it's going to end. Bijan Robinson, anytime he touches the ball, it's big play opportunity. He could take it wherever it is for a touchdown. So I think that negatively, the Falcons have a very deep team, and the record might not show it, but they're always one of those teams in the NFC that are competing for a playoff spot. This is going to be one of those games where if you're Atlanta, you want to beat a New England team, a team that's currently leading the division, to prove your worth in the NFC. I think that this is going to be a tough match, especially for the Pats, who are sooner or later bound to falter. It's a young team that has won 5 in a row. Sooner or later, those wings, their Icarus wings, are going to get too close to the sun at some point. It makes sense that it's Tampa Bay next week, because Tampa Bay is probably going to be the best team you face in a while. But I worry if it's Atlanta, that's going to be something that comes back to bite you, especially if Stevenson's not there and you're forced to throw the ball a lot more than you typically have.
Yeah, great points, especially when it comes to running the football for the Patriots, because this Atlanta defense, as good as they are against the pass, and they're number 1 ranked against the pass, they're not so highly ranked when it comes to their ability to stop the run. They're below the equator, as I like to put it, in terms of teams being able to stop the run. So if there is a way to get to this Atlanta team, it's to run the football effectively. And if you don't have Ramondre Stevenson, it puts a lot of pressure on guys like Travion Henderson and Terrell Jennings. And who knows, maybe we see Dearness Johnson get a call up this week in very limited duty, but he is a pro-level player and capable of playing and giving you minutes, so maybe he gets the call this weekend, and the Patriots go 3 strong if Ramondre is not able to play. But I want to circle back to what you said about Bijan Robinson, who is playing at, again, like Jonathan Taylor, maybe at a little bit of a lower level, but he's playing at an MVP caliber type level. I mean, he is unquestionably the Falcons' biggest offensive threat. And if you're able to marginally disrupt him, because I don't want to say stop him, you don't stop Bijan Robinson cold. If you can marginally disrupt what he does well, it gives you the opportunity to force it gives the Patriots the opportunity to force the ball into Michael Penix's hands, keep the ball in his hands, and try to make him beat you. Again, very difficult, easier said than done, I guess is the best way to put it when it comes to what the Pats are going to do. But that's something that they've been able to do relatively well, is try to take away what the opponent does well. And that to me is similar to what they used to do in the Belichickian and Brady dynasty era. Take away what your opponent does well and make the other guys beat you. Where do you believe the Patriots are situated to do that well this weekend? What are they doing at such a high level right now that you expect that to continue against Atlanta?
I think the deep balls. It's something that, we touched about how good Atlanta's secondary is, but Drake May, his chemistry with Stephon Diggs up the middle, his chemistry with Kayshon Boutte on what is now, he's trending to be the most effective deep ball receiver in the league has ever seen. Drake May has found a second gear, a third gear, as many gears as possible. He is hitting every single one of these deep passes down the sideline. And even when they fall incomplete, it's a catch by Ramondre Stevenson. He just doesn't get his second foot in bounds. So he is finding ways to carve up a defense at throws at every single level. And I think that that's something that the Patriots have figured out that Drake May is really good at. And he talked about it, and he figured out that he was good at that in high school this week. And Kayshon Boutte is now becoming one of the league's best deep ball threats. And we talk about him here in New England. I don't think across the NFL they realize how good he is at beating defenders. And so likely AJ Terrell will be against Stephon Diggs. That's the number one guy that you have. But, Kayshon Boutte, Mac Hollins has found his groove over the last few games. Then you still have Travion Henderson out of the backfield. I think it's going to be a pass-heavy game for this team, especially if they're banged up at the running back position. And, the deep balls have worked for the last few games. Kayshon Boutte has found the end zone, I think, 3 straight games now. And deep passes, throws outside the numbers, well past the sticks. And then once you get the tight ends involved as well, a little, shorter routes, that's going to be something that I think Atlanta's defense is going to have to prepare for. I think that's what the Patriots calling card is going to have to be this week.
So well said. It's so great to be able to talk about the Patriots' deep passing game as a weapon again. It's been so long since we've had the opportunity to do so, and to watch Drake May do it and bring it to life and Josh McDaniels allowing him to be able to do it. It really is a beauty to watch. It really is a real beautiful thing to watch each and every Sunday. So I'm loving it. And again, this is strength on strength when it comes to the Patriots and the Falcons, because the one thing that the Falcons do extremely well, I shouldn't say one thing. I got to stop giving them, a little bit of credit. I got to start giving them more credit than I'm giving them, Ethan. One thing they do particularly well in that passing game is to shut off what's called the explosive play. New England is one of the best big play teams in the league right now. 12.7% of the plays that they execute on offense are considered big plays. That's second in the NFL. The problem is that they're running into the Atlanta Falcons, who are also ranked second in the NFL for preventing attacks like that. Only 6% of the plays that they allow are considered to be big plays. So you want to talk about ironing, sharpening iron, strength on strength. As I wrote for Sports Illustrated this morning, as a matter of fact, if you're listening to this on Friday, check that article out. It's the irresistible force meeting the immovable object, and something's got to give at this point for these two units. To me, that's the matchup of the weekend. But if you're looking for maybe secondary matchups, or if you're looking for something under the radar that not many people are talking about in this game, Ethan, what are you looking for in terms of the Patriots and the Falcons? Is it an underdog matchup for the Patriots against the strength of the Falcons, or the other way around that you think could be a sleeper deciding factor in this matchup?
I'm going to go with a little out-of-the-box decision here. I'm going to go the kicking game, and only because Falcons kicker John Parker Romo was the one who lost the job to rookie Andy Borregales over the summer. And for some people that you might have talked to, people think he probably won the job, and they gave Borregales the job because he's a rookie and they spent a draft pick on him. I think just special teams as a whole, that's typically once you get, teams that are fairly evenly matched or have good spots on both sides. It's typically, Travion Henderson, will he be able to break one? Will Marcus Jones be able to break one? Will it come down to a field goal? It's going to be outdoor. It's going to be chilly. It's 50 degrees. Drake May said it was football weather. It's going to be, one of those games where it could come down to a field goal or two. And so, Bryce Behringer has been a little shaky punting wise for the Pats. Is he able to flip the field? So I think special teams as a whole will probably have a bigger impact on this game as compared to the other games that the Pats have gone through.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you mentioned that. That's a real, I think, under the radar matchup or under the radar storyline that not many people are talking about. And John Parker Romo being the kicker now for the Atlanta Falcons, and him getting the opportunity to maybe come back and say, hey, you know what? Maybe you should have given me the job coming out of training camp. Or maybe Borregales, like you said, steps up and says, hey, you know what? You made the right decision. I'm the guy for the present and the future, and that's the way it'll go. But yeah, I think special teams can really be a key this weekend, whether it's the kicking units or not. Atlanta special teams, they really haven't been a factor when it comes to punting, kickoff return, and net, punting as well. They've been, really, I think, maybe a little toward the bottom of the league on that. Maybe they're due for a good day. And if that's the case, they're going to be going up against the Patriots special unit group that does have certain guys that can tackle and get after it. But they've been deficient in certain games as well. So who gets the upper hand in special teams tackling and coverage could end up coming away the victor in this one. And I think that's a really good point to make. But keep an eye on the kicking game, folks. And you heard it here first. My good friend Ethan, telling you to keep an eye on the stuff that you should be watching this weekend. Obviously, we've talked about some of the biggest key matchups that we're going to be seeing, one-on-ones, units. The Falcons running backs, obviously, Bijan Robinson going up against New England's front seven may end up deciding this game. Whether or not Drake May finds success against that Atlanta secondary, could be a big factor as well. So do the Falcons wide receivers show up, and do they make, the opportunities happen? But bottom line, it's going to come down to which team executes the intangibles. Who is better suited to do that this weekend, and why?
I think probably the Patriots. I think that they're playing at a really high gear. Mike Vrabel has them playing the best football they've played in, 4 years now, 5 years. And I think that the Patriots are not a team of destiny, because people throw that term around, and not everyone can be destined. But the Patriots are playing at a level where, playoffs have become a conversation, and now you're turning to, can they host a playoff game? I think this is a team now that is playing at a really high gear. I still don't think that they've found their best football yet. They still come out of the gate fairly slow. The running game has still been a little dormant. I think that this is going to be a game where the Patriots are like, these are the games that New England should win. We're going to go out and win the game. And so it might not be, a pretty game like that game against Carolina where you put up, a ton of points. It's going to be one of those games where it's going to be, probably low scoring, mid-20s, both sides. And it's going to have one of those fight it out games, but it's going to be the games that, every Sunday, like when Tom Brady would go out there and you'd be like, this is a game the Patriots are just going to win. And it feels like that's just sort of that vibe of the game is, they're probably not going to blow them out, probably not going to get blown out, but it's going to be a close game that I think Drake May at this level right now that he's playing at will probably just make a few more plays than Michael Penix, who is coming off of an injury.
Obviously, I definitely agree with you on all tenets there. 60-minute game coming up for the New England Patriots. You have to play strong. You have to play smart. And they've got to get out to a stronger start, I think, than they have in the last couple of weeks. Obviously, it hasn't hurt them. They've been in the win column the last 2 weeks, but slow starts will eventually catch up to you. And against this Atlanta team, it can really set you back, because once they lock in and dig their heels in and start playing tough pass defense, it's going to be very difficult for the Patriots to dig themselves out of their doldrums that they have the last couple of weeks. So I think they need to come out, they need to start quick, and they need to get big time production from some of their depth pieces. Over the course of the last couple of weeks, we've seen guys like Pop Douglas and Mac Hollins step up and make big plays. Austin Hooper has been big in that regard. When Henry is drawing double team or extra eyes, he's gotten open or made himself available for Drake May to be able to make the play. So I think that's important there. On the defensive side of the ball, they really have to load up and make sure that they're keeping the lid on the run. You know, Atlanta's going to want to try to run the ball. If I were them, I would as well. They've got a great running game to facilitate so much of what they do well. Yeah, the Patriots' run defense is good, but any team can be had on any given Sunday. So throw everything you can at Kyrus Tonga. Throw everything you can at Milton Williams and Christian Barmore and maybe Anthony Jennings coming up and helping out against the run. If they catch them off guard this week, that could tip the scales in favor of the Atlanta Falcons. But I think, Ethan, you've already tipped your hand as to which way the Patriots are going to go. Here on All Patriots Talk, we're not going to mince any words. Final score predictions. What do you believe is going to be the final outcome when the final buzzer sounds at Gillette this weekend and the Patriots and the Falcons walk off the field?
Well, considering I just said it would be a close mid-20s game and probably field goals decided, I think I'm going to have to go 25-22 Patriots. It's not going to come down to a game-winning field goal. I don't think it would be that, but I think this is going to be, the Patriots are going to have the lead. Atlanta might climb back a little bit, and New England will just make a few more plays when they have to towards the end of the fourth quarter. But 25-22, I think that's going to be, something along that range.
Yeah, we're right on the money in terms of that. I don't have the exact same score, but the same point differential. I get the Patriots winning this one by 4 by a final of 21-17. I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring affair. I think the Pats are going to find out in very quick time that this Atlanta defense is to be reckoned with, and they are going to, lock in and make things difficult for Drake May in this passing game. But I believe that their intangibles, the fact that this is at home, and the fact that they are battle tested on both sides of the football, I think allow them the opportunity to make a few more plays than the Atlanta Falcons do and come away with the victory. Folks, we'd love to hear what you have to say out in Patriots Nation. What do you think of the show? What do you think of the Patriots' chances of extending their win streak to 6 games this weekend? Drop us a note in the comments section here on YouTube. And it's been an honor here on All Patriots Talk to share the microphone with my good friend Ethan Hurwitz. He's one of the best in the business when it comes to analysis and when it comes to finding the stories that you didn't know you wanted, but once he delivers them, you absolutely know that you can't live without them. And he does tremendous work. And I can't wait to continue covering this season alongside you, my friend. Final thoughts and take us home on this first inaugural episode of All Patriots Talk, my friend.
Yeah, you can find us wherever you find your favorite podcasts. We'll have some videos up on social media, some different clips or what have you. But favorite place to watch podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your stuff, we'll be there in your ear, in your face, telling you everything you need to know all season. And hopefully this is just the start to what is a long run of us being in your living rooms, in your cars, in your rooms. So yeah, I had a fun time today, and hopefully this is just the start.